New South Wales has experienced another record day of case numbers as authorities warn the Omicron variant is taking hold. Premier Dominic Perrottet says he won't reverse the state's roadmap despite increasing pressure from health experts.
The New South Wales Premier is not backing down on the state's path to living with COVID.
Now is our time as a state to stand tall, and we can do that because of the efforts and sacrifice that people have made around the state.
Increasing cases in the state have prompted calls for the return of mask wearing and QR check-ins 4 days after those rules were scrapped. Premier Dominic Perrottet is remaining firm. New South Wales needs to learn to live with the virus.
And as we move through the next phase, case numbers will increase. That is the new normal as we move through this, and vaccination has been key. We need to tailor our settings. We're always monitoring the situation. Our number one focus to keep people safe.
Nudging towards the 95% double dose rate, authorities are reiterating the messages of their federal counterparts. Australia is well placed to handle emerging outbreaks.
We have, not just here in New South Wales, the highest vaccination rate in the country, but arguably one of the highest vaccination rates in the world, and that enables us to be able to learn to live alongside the virus.
We will continue to strike the balance. We will continue to look at all of the issues that are happening around the world, but also here in our state, and we'll make sure that people's mental health and the economy is also well looked after by continuing to always look at all the factors that drive New South Wales community as being one of the world's best communities.
But the open approach has attracted criticism.
My view would be that I think they have taken their controls off a little earlier than what they should have. And I'd be encouraging them to look very closely at what occurs in coming days in terms of the spread of the disease there. We will obviously monitor it here, but that's a state with a growing level of community transmission, and I would urge them to keep a very close eye on that.
It's clear at this point that the Chief Health Officer and the Deputy Chief Health Officer are in fact advising the New South Wales Government to put in a mask mandate. I also want to make it clear to the Premier that if he decides to change policy and regulation in relation to this, he can expect bipartisan support.
Authorities are encouraging anyone who is eligible to book their booster vaccines to do so even throughout the holiday period.
I think there's only one club that people should belong to here in New South Wales at the moment, and that's the Booster Club.
The state has seen a substantial uptake in boosters in the last week.
Last week we had around 15,000 people come through and get a booster shot. That's over 50,000 over the course of this week. So that's incredibly pleasing.
A sign resurgence of COVID in the community is providing extra encouragement for those due for a third dose.
We'll get through this like we've got through the last 2 years. Key is today, get your booster.
Kenny Heatley, Sky News.